Hey everybody, it's Texas Stroker here, Lance's Performance Shop, LoneStarMopars.com. It is Sunday, July 3rd, 2022, right before Independence Day, of course. And the day was sort of interrupted by my sister. Didn't know we were doing anything, and last minute found out we were. So my day did not go according to plan, but I guess that's a good segue because this is a tool haul that didn't go according to plan. We're going to come in and I'm going to throw this down, and we're going to throw this down. And what we have, of course, are just a selection of ratcheting wrenches. Stand out, of course, being the Gador, made in Germany with the switch. I do actually use this one quite a bit. I'm pretty happy with it. It's not a super high tooth count, nothing fancy, but it's very robust. Then, of course, we've got the Jokers. They do, to their credit, make a switched version. Those get insanely expensive. And then kind of, I guess, the newest player to the market would be these Stavillas. And I have to tell you, they're actually, in terms of like the tooth count and the feel, they're actually really good. I think it would probably be Cabo that makes them. You got the little brass kind of glued in set screw. So if you recall, a while back there was a super mega crazy good deal at Wiha, and it was to get, you know, like the jumbo crazy size sets all the way up to 1.5 inches for like $159. And I bought one, real happy with that. You know, it's a great buy. No switch, no return switch, nothing like that. But for the money and the sheer number of wrenches, we filled up that Hall's wrench rack with that set. I think it's like a 20 slot wrench rack, and we filled every single one of them. You cannot go wrong. And it was one of those deals at the time. I was debating, you know, like, oh man, you know, should I get one for work, you know? Because again, the big draw there for me is the 15/16. You never see 15/16 in like standard ratcheting wrench sets. The SKX frames, which again, no return switch, or selector switch, whatever you want to call it. Same thing, they just never went that high. That was one of my big complaints about that set. It's like they don't ever expand the sizes. And so of course, you jump up, you use 3/4 hardware, you know, we'd need a larger wrench, but I kind of, at that price point, was like, man, you know, I should just go ahead and pull the trigger and do a set at work. And I didn't do it, and I was sort of kicking myself ever since. Well, here a couple weeks back, Wiha sends out an email, and they're like, hey, we've, you know, got the jumbo wrench sets on sale for $159 again. And I was like, it wasn't the complete set either. This was like, I think it starts at 13/16. Which, does that suck? You don't have 3/4 down? Yes, but my thoughts were like almost every wrench set in the world that's ratcheting is either 1/4 up through 3/4 or maybe 3/8 through 3/4. Maybe there's some oddballs that start at 5/16, but they always stop at like 3/4. It's very rare that you have like 7/8 or 1 inch up here. Capri sometimes does that. And the other thing going on in the world right now, as I mentioned, Capri, I think they have most of their ratcheting wrenches, like Tecton, for the longest time. They haven't had any of them. The other thing, I think all of Tecton's are 6 points, and I do not want 6 points on my ratcheting wrench if I have a choice. I prefer 12. It gives me just a better, doubles my chances of, like I always say, catching the fastener, right? So long story short, we did this. Oh, this is heavy. I've got a box cutter in my hand, so hopefully we maintain the one hand here. And you think like, oh, it's the same freaking thing, dude. It's like, well, it looks to be the same thing, but if I were to cycle this up for us, which is going to be kind of hard to do with the lack of real estate, especially when you grab the mat, that's a 10 piece, 13/16 to 1.5 inches, okay? Not gonna lie to you, I opened this up because I needed the 15/16. I wanted to have some seat time with it so I could talk about it when we did this video, and I was instantly disappointed. And the reason for that, I don't think I put the 15/16 back in here, so no, I did, I totally did. Everything's still rubber banded, all the others, but if you're thinking like, hey, you know, what's the deal here? What's the problem? Some of you know already. If you pay careful attention or you're on the mailing list of Wiha, you will know when I made that previous video, that was like super liquidation clearance time. We're getting rid of the chrome wrenches because we're updating and we're going matte chrome, and that's why I had these three out. It would be, you know, more like your Stavilla and your Gador finishes, right? So, or satin chrome, you know, whatever you want to call it. Not this. And this is the new set, and they are the freaking chrome and polished. And this was going to be 2 videos. I was going to get 2 videos out of this haul. We were going to do the little items I got, and then I was going to come in and I was going to do the wrench set, and then we were going to compare, you know, the polished wrench versus, you know, the satin or the matte chrome, whatever they're using that's new. Can't do it because they sent me the same freaking thing that was supposedly non-existent and sold out completely. So I don't know if like the wrench set was like cast aside. I don't know. This is the last one. I don't know if some of you had the same thing happen. But the wrenches themselves, while they're not the best for the price, it's absurd. Again, going 13/16 to 1.5 inch, I really can't complain too much, although I was basically told, hey, you're getting, you know, the new chrome, not the old style, and we didn't. So that really sucks, because again, I wanted to compare them. But if you're like, hey, what did you need this 15/16 for at your sister's house? Squat rack. My nephew got this really sweet squat rack. All the hardware, Rogue, if you're curious. You know, a lot of times when you get exercise equipment, it's like metric or some odd fastener stuff. The Monster Light uses 5/8, so we got to use our 15/16, and I think like the Monster, the non-light version, I guess it uses 3/4 bolts. Don't hold me to that, but I know his had 5/8 hardware, so I wanted to have this handy, got to use it, very happy with it. Again, it's one of those things I can sort of complain because it's just, you know, it was advertised. It was told they were sold out and it was supposed to be the new stuff, and it's clearly not. And also, it's just, you're a little salty on my side because, like, this is going to be the great comparison video, you know? And it might have helped some of you be like, ooh, gross, you know, I'm not buying the new ones, I'm going to go with brand X. Or it might have made some of you be like, man, I really do like the idea of having, you know, like the matte or satin chrome way better than this polished stuff. I can't make that video now because we have this, but like I said, given that it's a 10-piece wrench set from 13/16 all the way up to 1.5 inch, it's still just a stupid good value. And if you're thinking like, well, hey, what are you going to pair with this? What are you going to do 3/4 and under? You know, you said you use 5/16, 3/8, quarter, you know, hardware all the time. Well, rest assured, I have already taken care of that. And we're going to cover that in a separate tool haul, and I can tell you it's not Wiha. But for the bigger wrench sizes, again, this is still just a fantastic deal. I'm just sort of disappointed. I thought I was getting, you know, like the updated finish on the wrenches, and I was going to get to compare and contrast them for you. So if you're curious about seeing more about these, I've got that video that covered it in really good detail. They are, I want to say 72 tooth. Don't hold me to that though. But they kind of, I noticed on this one, it was like, it felt real clunky. And then as I used it, it sort of broke itself in a little bit. I also wound up using the open end quite a bit. It was fine. There's not much else to say. But again, that original deal when you went like quarter all the way up to 1.5 inch was like stupid good. And I know a ton of you took advantage of that, and hopefully you're happy with them. And if they suck, or they're not as good as you thought they were, again, I think everyone has to come back and say, for the money, I think I did okay. I mean, 160 bucks for 10 ratcheting wrenches. That's 16 bucks a wrench, and we go up to 1.5 inch, which usually, if you were to buy that from another brand, and keep in mind the vast majority of ratcheting wrenches, especially that size, are going to be out of Taiwan, you would pay very, very, very close to the price of this set. So, would I love the selector switch? Yeah. Could we make a better wrench? Yeah. Could the tooth count be better? Sure. But it's one of those things, just when you kind of accept the fact that virtually everything in terms of ratcheting wrenches is going to come out of Taiwan, it's not that big of a deal. The Gadors, they would be, I believe, the only made in Germany ones. I think the Jokers are the Czech Republic. And both are good options, but both, when you start adding the selector switches, just get crazy expensive. So we're going to set this off to the side. That is my legit plan. Those are just going to stay in the box until I sort of like get my work set up in place a little bit better, clear out some real estate for them. So if you spend over, I believe, $150, don't hold me to this, we've got the Wiha 6-in-1. I think over $250 we would have gotten a pair of insulated pliers maybe. So I'm trying to figure out why in the world this is so stiff in there. you've kind of seen it. I'm not sure I really want to spend the time. Again, I'm just sort of, there's another thing that's really disappointing to me. But the 6-in-1's not bad. It was engineered in Germany, designed in America. It's got the updated finish out. If we come in, you can see the tab made in the USA is on the pad right there. And then it's a 6-in-1. So basically, we come in and we've got 2 slotted sizes. You got 3/16 and 1/4. Obviously this would be your nut driver. We shut that back in. We have got number 1 Phillips, number 2 Phillips. You've got the other nut driver. There is an 11-in-1. These are actually super reasonably priced. And again, if you pick up anything of any value, or you just wait and you're like, man, I really want those hex keys, and you kind of wait until you think, you know, my precision drivers could use an upgrade. If you piece and string orders together, you can hit those thresholds for, you know, free shipping or free items or something like that. So always check that stuff, you know, before you just commit. But again, 1/4 and 3/16 for the slotted sizes. We've got Phillips 1 and 2, and 1/4 and 5/16 for your nut drivers. So throw that up to the side. The next thing I got is right here. I've got several of these. I really like these and the Knipex. I've got plans for this one. We'll cover that way later on. I'm not gonna go through again, you know, the saltier and more disappointed I am, the less effort I put into the videos. So I'll have it linked. If you want to know the price, you can just click there. I make nothing off of it. It'll take you to Wiha. Again, they're no longer sold at KC Tool. But these are actually pretty handy, especially for bits. So keep that in mind. I think it's around 15 bucks, somewhere in that range. Speaking of bits, we have this, which came crushed by the wrenches. And this is, I actually don't have this set, but this is their Terminator bits, which I've had really good luck with. I keep the Tic Tacs, which I constantly restock, right there. I'm not sure they still do the Tic Tac packs. I'll actually have to check into that, but those were really cool, especially like, let's say, first thing that comes to my mind is if you're doing like fences or deck work or something like that as your profession. You will burn through the bits, and that's a really convenient way to keep them. You could have like your number 2 Phillips, your Torx, whatever you're using. Same thing like in industrial assembly work. I mean, this is like 25 bits, and if you just have them stacked out and labeled, you can store a ton. So pretty cool setup they had there. This right here, though, you probably recognize it. It's just a deal now where they've got the blue collars. Again, they kind of moved. They were at Home Depot a little while, and then they're at Lowe's. And so for Lowe's, they went with that. But if we flip it over, we'll showcase what is included. You got a number 1 and 2 Phillips. Number 1 and number 2 square. I kind of picked that for a reason. I still have to use the square stuff on window screens. I don't know why. That's where I run into them, and I do actually need them. Seems like every time they come and clean the windows at work, they screw stuff up, quite literally. And it's up to me to fix their mistakes. So Torx, we get a T20, T25, and T30. I might would have preferred a 15, 20, and 25. That's just me. And then you get a 1/4 inch magnetic bit holder. So we're just gonna tear into this. Again, I'm not gonna spend a ton of time on it, but hopefully that's a decent enough, you know, understanding of the product for you. So here they are. These are kind of a trick little deal. And again, picture that. You could fit tons of these in here. And again, you can kind of change this around. So this one right here, you basically just pull this down and you can access the bits. You can sort of see what you want, what you get out. Right here, I think you can kind of rotate them where you could see the sizes. Or did they quit doing that? Oh no, they quit. Okay. Once upon a time, I'm pretty sure they had these stamped with the sizes. Doesn't seem to be the case anymore, but like for example, I mean, that's our number 2 Phillips. You get the idea. There is the blue collar. Pretty good looking bits, but the way this would work way better is when we come in and we hit this button, and we can actually, let's see, haven't used this one in a while. I think I got it from my sister. I'm trying to remember. There we go. You want to rock this out, and then when you pull this, which I believe is impact rated, it makes it way easier to just come in and get your bit out. So then you reseat it, and you can kind of shimmy the bit. Yeah, I believe this one is magnetic, if I'm not mistaken. Let's grab a, conveniently, I have this square drive adapter. So yeah, Not a bad little setup. Again, I think these are pretty reasonable, somewhere around like 14, 15 bucks, somewhere in that range. So it's not, you know, the greatest setup, but it's not terrible, and we'll take it with that. So it doesn't seem like that's catching properly for some reason. I always thought that sort of locked in place better. I don't know if they've like tweaked it, but there's your little bit carousel, and then again, to access this, you follow the arrow that pops out and you're home free. So again, it seemed like the ones I had in the past, it was like super hard to articulate this part, but maybe they've updated it, I'm not sure. Again, the one I got like that, I actually have at my sister's house. So anyway, there's that. I just kind of wanted to try that out, check it out. And this is the next disappointing thing, but again, it's the same setup that I have with those wrenches. While I'm disappointed, I can't complain too much because of the, you know, how cool it is. I thought they'd done away with these. I truly did. I was kind of sad. I made a video on it long ago, and it's just a deal where you never saw it, you know, and I thought, man, why would they get rid of that? And then I think, well, why did they get rid of their screw holding stuff? And then they brought it back and charged a ton of money for it when it was previously on clearance prior to the video. But this right here, if you're thinking like, okay, it's number 2 Phillips, did you really need to do that, buddy? Well, yes and no. So this right here, it's the 3111. You can see it's made in Germany. If we cycle it around, this goes back to 2019, and it's got the classic soft finish. It's got the white silk screen stuff, 2-component grip. You know, you got your size markings here, and you think like, what's all that junk on the shaft? Well, this is lasered, and it is their Measure Up driver. Some of you, this may be the first time you see it. For those veteran viewers of the channel, you should hopefully remember this thing because it's super cool. But I bought this because A, I love it and use it for depth all the time, especially in frame rails and stuff. Comes in super handy, especially like if you can't get or don't want your good calipers under a vehicle. It was supposed to be the updated design. The slotted version still had this as the product showcase, and then the Phillips version, I assume they probably sold more of them or something, and so it was the new handle style, which would have had the red. And do I not have one handy? Basically, we'll just use, there it is, there's a number 2 Phillips. So they should now look like this. And I think I'm going to run out of space, but that's why I'm disappointed. It was advertised as the new style, and I got the old style. So, same thing with the wrenches. LoneStarMopars.com is a website. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all 3 at Lone Star Mopars. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you've ordered any of these recently, the wrenches or the Measure Up, what did you get? Did you get the new finish on the wrenches? Did you get the new style handle, sort of like you see here? Because I didn't, and apparently I have more time than I thought, because I thought this was going to end at 17:46, and we're still going, so I guess there's a couple more minutes on the card. But, like I said, I'm disappointed in this because it was advertised as the new version, and I got the old version, and then I'm disappointed in the wrenches because they were advertised as the new finish out, and I got the old version. And the old version in that case, and now I was cut off, so I don't know, I thought maybe it was 19 minutes, apparently it wasn't. It's closer to what I initially thought. But, anyway, I can't be like super mad, but I guess the words would be is disappointed, you know, when you're like advertised that you're going to get the updated version and you don't. And again, I had no fears that it would be this one because the slotted version still showed the old handle style. So that said, it's still super useful. I'm just glad it's still around. I thought they'd done away with this item. It's something I don't guess they like push or advertise or promote very much. And if you're not some like nut like me that looks through the catalogs, you're not going to know it exists. So it is very handy. And again, on the wrenches, I really wanted the new finish out so we could do a comparison, and that way kind of compare and contrast, you know, and then I can kind of see like, hey, you know, this really does help me not slip. But I was also curious if maybe they'd like upgraded the ratcheting mechanism on them. I'm doubtful they did, but you never know. And can't do that, and I can't showcase and compare and contrast this either. But at the same time, do I want to go like email and, you know, bless them out and say, you nuts, you know, you advertise this and send that, what's the deal? Do you not manage your warehouse? No, because this is still super useful. Those are still an insanely good buy, and, you know, I'm fine with it. But it is disappointing, I will say that. So that's that. That's all I've got for you. I'm going to go and clean some. I'm going to try to mess around with the charger here a little bit. And if you're curious about the truck, I'm waiting for the headers to come back. So once the headers are here, we can finally get back on that bandwagon. There's a couple of things I can do on the interior. I thought I was going to do that today, but then my sister surfaced and I was in town for 4 hours, so... So, anyway, have yourself a fantastic weekend. If you've ordered the wrenches since they sold out, I'm curious, like, did you get the new finish or did you get the polished stuff? Because that wasn't supposed to exist anymore. That's why I'm sort of miffed about it. So that was being the bigger disappointment than this guy, because again, these are stupid handy. I think I'll take this one to work too, probably with that, because I've got several of them now. And maybe I'll bring back my OG pop-up from Wiha, make this like the new desk guy. I don't know, but guess I could take the bits and that would replace it. But then you think, hey, why would you do that when you already have one there? So it was a 13-in-1, I think, at work in my desk drawer. But anyway, I'm gonna quit rambling. Again, not upset, just really disappointed, I guess is the best way to phrase it. So like I said, have a great weekend. I'll catch you back here for more action from the shop. So I guess these just got kind of beat up by the wrenches as well. So I figured it out. I told you, like, man, used to, you couldn't access these, and you had to do something. Well, there's your answer. So that little lip just wasn't in the down position like it should be. So that takes care of that. Again, just kind of wanted to update that before we wrap this up.